Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Poets House Live. We got something special for you on this Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody who was at the sound of my voice. We got a special edition of the Poets House Live. It is Poems, Porches, and People. This is part two. Got some great poets who are going to be in the building, and we're going to have a conversation first because we need to have a conversation. Let me find my girl Boogie in here. Where you at, Boogie?
What up? Happy Saturday, Happy New Year, all that good stuff, boo.
Hey. Well, I made a little mistake. I brought my plate over here with me. We were eating sandwiches, y'all, right to the very countdown. We were eating sandwiches. Boogie,
What? When you hungry, you hungry.
the sandwich is good.
I told you. And look, and that bread is soft. Not S-O-F-T, soft. S-O-F, soft.
Soft.
Yeah, soft.
Soft.
Yay.
So let's talk to the people. Poems, porches, and people. Let's get into the conversation.
Well, I think front porches are still important. Those front porch moments are still important. Sitting on the steps of all of that wisdom and knowledge and experience, painful or otherwise, I still think that's important. Whether people are receptive to hearing it still needs to be shared. It still needs to be shared.
I was hoping you was going to keep talking till I finished chewing.
Yeah, I was like, what's she doing? And she left me hanging. But yeah, I think it still needs to be shared because, so much has been lost from not having those front porch moments.
Right. Listen, I mean, you got to think about how important front porches are to our communities. Because if you think back in the day when grandmas and those old ladies in the neighborhood sat on the front porch, they saw everything that you were doing. If you was doing something that you didn't have any business, she was going to call you out. She was going to tell your mama.
Oh yeah. Like the neighborhood watch of the front porch pales in comparison. Nobody can compare to the neighborhood watch of the front porch. Like, hey, I saw Colette walking down the street with that gal. And by the time you got home from school, your parents will have heard 3 or 4 different versions, but still aligning with some form of the truth of you doing something, saying something, or being with somebody that you had no business.
Right.
And the kicker was, if these women didn't care, they wouldn't say anything.
Exactly. And let me tell you something. Our communities were a lot safer.
Yes.
And I don't know about your grandma, but my grandma was nosy. I'm talking about big nosy, extra nosy. Like she'd be at her house, sitting in her recliner. She had a big picture frame window and she had sheer curtains there. And any car that rolled past her house and came, we lived on the same street. So if a car passed by, she'd call me on the phone and she's like, Tanya, who was that driving that black Monte Carlo?
It got 4 doors.
I'm like, Grandma, I'm in the house.
And somebody sitting in the back? No, you say nosy.
Nosy.
No. Who had that relative, that female relative? Because it's not just confined to grandmamas. Because the aunts, them aunts, them was something special. Not them. Them was something special. So who had that aunt that would say stuff like, and this is a true story, but I'm not saying which one. But who had that aunt would say stuff like, okay, the reason why your hair is thinning in the back, young lady, is because you're on your back too much.
Lord have mercy.
That kind of truth we don't have. But I'm just saying, having that kind of truth spoken. Well, the reason why he treating you like this is because of this. And I'm using Merriam-Webster's, but those conversations were heavily sprinkled with the Urban Dictionary. Heavily.
Okay.
Sprinkled.
Heavily. I see we got some people in here already clocking in with us. We got Keep the Faith with Tori. She said, I'm here and I'm listening. What's up, Tori? Another poet in the SC over in D-Town.
Hey, y'all.
All right. We got Miss Amina in the house. She said, bring back front porch conversations.
Yes.
Okay. And she hashtagged that because it's very, very important. You're right. All right. Tori said she clutching her pearls. I don't know what we said. You must be talking about the hair situation.
But it's those relatives that were not shy with telling the truth, because even if you didn't like the delivery, but because you knew they came from a pure place, now granted, everybody had the mean ones, that just didn't care. They felt like they had paid their dues and they just would say whatever, however, whenever. They didn't really care. But like I said earlier, sitting on the steps and listening to all of this wisdom while you were getting your hair greased, and because my job was to wash my hair on Fridays, grease it to the best of my ability, and then on Saturday sit on the porch and get my hair straightened, 10 curl.
Girl.
And see, and they don't, they don't have the sulfur 8 and the Dax and the white rose and the royal crown, not crown royal like you sip, but the royal crown hair grease for those who may be a little bit seasoned like me, we didn't even use grease. My grandma and them used lard.
You better stop lying. Now I'm country, but you speaking of country I ain't never heard of.
And strips of paper bag, because they didn't have lip and lilt and stuff to keep your curls intact. Strips of paper bag to absorb the grease but keep your curls tight. Yes, ma'am.
This is how I'm 55 years old and I'm just hearing of this.
I don't know.
Well, I never.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Okay. But I do remember, as you guys can see right now, I'm in the kitchen right now. And that was a place where we got our hair done.
Yes.
That is a place where that hot comb came in. You had to hold your ears to make sure your ears didn't get burned. I remember those days.
No. Okay. So, Tanya, maybe you can answer this question, sis. How many times did that towel get folded just so the straightening comb can get cooled off? Like, how many times?
About 6 times.
But the towel was never replaced. It was still like, it had literally a hot comb print on it, on all 4 corners of that towel.
Yes,
but they
never
got rid of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, we got Tori in here with a little commentation. She said straight facts. She also, talking about, those aunts and stuff. She said, hey, they didn't bite their tongues.
They did not.
Wasn't no need to.
They didn't care if your feelings was hurt.
Didn't need to. And Amina here, she actually heard about the lard situation. So y'all put me on to something. She said my grandma did that with paper towel.
That's right. Strips of paper bag or paper towels.
All right. I see we got Miss Attitude in the house with us. Miss Attitude, can you hear me?
Hey, boo.
Take yourself off mute, Miss Attitude. All right. Well, I'm going to take Miss Attitude right back on out. I see we got the General O. Fox in the house. Fox, get in here. Take it off mute.
In the immortal words of House Party, I'm getting those digits. What's up, everybody in next Councilwoman land?
Everything is good.
Pulling for you.
Everything irie, as they would say. Everything irie. Well, I don't think you got your hair pressed too many times. Now, I'm not sure. Because you could have got a little, there was some Al Sharpton situations going on back in the day, too.
Now, my thing was, and I went, the shop is still there on Gun Hill Road in the Bronx. I went to, they called it Killer Johnson. And he was a killer. I always had the Michael Jordan Caesar when I was a kid. And he pressed mad hard. So your hair be, your scalp be showing and bleeding and cuts, but you was A1 fresh. And he, a lot of barbers still do it, but he took out those big, you know, Spartan swords and like was edging cats up, and put all that stuff and burns your skin and all that, but you come out looking A1 fresh, and I had that parental pressure of being presidential and carrying the legacy, which I'm honored to. Now I'm glad they impressed that upon me, but at the time I didn't get it. So, you know, I know a lot of fams got we got a little generational curses and situations. But one thing we did talk about in part one was acknowledging those and then diverting and making a turn as necessary. Sometimes you got to choose your own family or rebuild the tribe and switch the legacy up. Not to say that my family don't have issues, but I still feel pretty blessed, and I got more joy, than not to be able to tell. So I'm the proud son of Barbara and Alan Fox. I'm the youngest of seven, and yeah, I'm a New Yorker with an arrogant attitude, a Leo, and the youngest. So that's how you make the general. But honored for my Southern heritage, where my mom came from. She left Orangeburg when she was 20, so she did that '60s migration, like a lot of folks. We did that 12-hour drive every summer to South Carolina. And when I was in college, I used to always get excited because I saw the orange sand from the airplane coming into Columbia Airport. And I was like, yo, why the ground look like that and all this and that. But yeah, honored to that outcast vibe. My last thing I want to say is Andre 3000 said something really cool about sound in hip hop. And he said the first time he went to New York, he understood why the music sounded the way it is because of the buildings and the compression and the people, and everything is real contractual. You basically don't speak to people unless you got a reason to, and things of that nature. And that's something I had to un-New Yorkify myself when I got here. But I also think that's why I love regional sound. Like West Coast got like the driving music sound, but I think that '90s Southern hip hop, and even Scarface and cats before him, um, it just got that storytelling, make you want to chill on the porch and reminisce. So shout outs to my Carolina heritage and my New York people.
Or like the New York folks, y'all might be on the stoop.
Most
That's what
deaf.
it is. All right, we got our girl in here, Soraya. Why don't you go ahead and jump on in the conversation? How you feeling?
Greetings. I am spectacular. How are you guys?
Good.
Thank you guys for welcoming me onto the floor. Greetings. Prior military service and connected with the people in this Carlet through one of our sisters in the military, but Um, I recently got out the military 3 years ago, and through my journey and coming into myself and becoming a mom, I started to realize and see how hurt people, and how um, unhealed a lot of people are. My friend, she started a nonprofit foundation for her children, and they passed away tragically through the hands of one of their family members. And me becoming a mother and seeing my upbringing in the Black community, I started to see we're hurt, and we don't talk about the raw stuff that aunties talk about. I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of nieces and nephews, and my upbringing, there was a lot of ignorance. Seen through the generational curses that we like to stay ignorant and oblivious to things and sweep stuff under the rug, not talk about things. And then when it blows up, when someone kills themselves, they kill someone else, or their mental health deteriorates, that's when we want to talk about things. That's when we want to start being honest, when it's too late. So I'm an advocate on being proactive instead of reactive. I have a podcast, and through all of this lifing, I just begin to realize that we need to be honest with self, and we need to be honest with one another, and we need to take the knowledge and the wisdom from our elders. Like Miss Colette say, a lot of younger people don't listen to the older generations. We don't listen to our grandmothers. We don't listen to our aunties. A lot of younger generations don't have respect for the elder communities, and those are the people that were pouring the seeds into us for us to be able to continue on life, continue on holding the torch and keeping us moving in a positive progression. So through my words, through my poetry, through my advocacy, through my podcasting, I just like to speak and help enlighten us, to help us raise the vibration and the frequency.
Okay. Well, tell me, what's the name of your podcast?
It's called Sankofa Speaks.
Okay.
My phone's gonna be on mute a lot. I have a piglet, so if y'all
You
hear
got
him
a
in the
whole
back,
pig.
You hear it?
I have a piglet, so I'll be going in and out of mute. I don't want to disturb
Go ahead
anyone
and
while
do
they're
that. But
speaking. Yes,
you got a pet pig.
I have a piglet. His name is Peace. I work with children. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to teach people there's different ways of therapy and different ways to heal animals, or forms of therapy, poetry, artwork. There's so many different forms. So
Mm-hmm.
through him, he helps with children. He helps myself. He helps my son and I all learn and teach us how to be responsible. So I have a piglet, yes.
I know now they're very clean pets, right?
They are very clean. They're very
Mm-hmm.
clean. I mean, it's just like any other animal. You sit there and let them be and mess. They'll be messy. If you keep up with the maintenance and keep up with them, they'll be good. But yes, yes,
Now
I do.
I do like pigs, but I think it might be different for us.
I enjoy it. He like to eat a lot. He like to eat, and he just like to be himself. So it's been an experience. I had it for about 2 months now. So
But
it's
why
been a
a
ride.
pig? I mean, have you ever eaten bacon?
I have eaten pork before. Do we consume pork now? No, we don't. But
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted a pig growing up as a child. I'm like a farm girl at heart. Like I want to teach people we need to learn how to survive, grow
Yes.
our own food. We need to learn how to take care of our own lands, teach our children how to be one with the mother guy and be one with everything. And I've always wanted a pig, and I didn't have supportive family growing up, and I'm grown now.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the opportunity to be able to become a pig owner, and I have my pig, and he's a part of our family. So
Okay.
that's why my phone be on mute sometimes. So
So,
yes,
the name of your podcast again.
it is Sankofa Speaks. I'm gonna put it in the chat for you
Okay.
all.
And what's the name of your pig?
His name is Peace, like peace, spread peace and joy. Peace the pig. What? I'm gonna see.
Yeah,
Can
make
you
sure.
see?
Okay, I see. Oh, and it's black.
Yeah, he black, just like his mama, black and beautiful. Say hello. He like to eat.
So let me
He'll just
ask you,
eat now.
where is your where do you broadcast your podcast? Is it on like YouTube or Apple, or where is
It's
it at? How do people get to
it's
see you?
currently on Anchor. It's on Spotify. It's on Google
Hmm.
Podcasts as well. So it's a digital podcast. Through
Okay.
me getting out, I started to interview different veterans and different people who have phenomenal backstories, survivors of rape, and different woman, she was a part of domestic violence, and her partner, he only left because she thought that she had passed away and that she was dead, and she was here to tell the story and is here to tell the story and has her own talk show host. I started my platform because I had a lack of support. So I'm like, instead of asking people for support, I'm going to start my own support. And I just started to see that there were other people like me and who had phenomenal stories. So I just utilize the podcast to just start to help spread light and let people who haven't had support or haven't been heard or never been able to release their story to be able to heal. Because a lot of people be silent for a long time and suffer in silence and don't have an outlet or a place to or somebody to trust to just get it out and be able to say this happened to me or I went through this, or to have somebody that can be relatable, or have another mom say this is what's going on with me and not feel judged. So that's why I started my podcast, and I have a magazine, a digital magazine as well too. So whoever that I interview, I highlight them within the magazine as well too. So yes.
All right, Lady Boogie.
Yes, thank you.
That's
Yes.
what's going on, Boogie. We got somebody else in the house. Listen, y'all gonna see people passing by because this was originally an event that we were having a barbershop talk. Okay, you know how we do that. And because of the weather yesterday, we had sleet. We wasn't sure if we were gonna have snow, if the roads were gonna be iced. And so we decided to go virtual. So we decided to go virtual, and guess what? The roads fine. They just as clear. But we already here with you. So it'll be people in and out. We're gonna have different people coming up to the mic, and we'll do some poetry as well. But let me say this, because everybody got an opportunity to say something, as well as the chat. We got people in the chat who were responding. And the thing is, you know what it is? We just don't talk enough anymore.
Exactly.
Conversations.
The art, because conversation is an art form.
Mm-hmm.
It
Convers-
is.
The art of conversation is lost. Have you know what I hate? And then I'm gonna go to something that Soraya said that triggered something from the front porch for me. How many times have you gone to a restaurant and you've seen people sitting down eating and the entire table, their head is bent toward the phone?
Why? What sense does that make?
Like, you see this.
I don't get it.
Like, why did you come? Why you even come outside?
Right.
Why are we even sitting down?
You could have got that to go.
Look, Uber Eats, DoorDash, I could have stayed at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Anyway.
Absolutely.
So, one of the gifts, and I didn't realize it was a gift that became an heirloom that I use constantly to this day. Those elders spoke detours, but because we weren't smart enough to understand where it was coming from, it was, hey, sugar sweet when you taste it. That was a detour for your life, but you didn't understand that it was a detour that they was giving you. What's another one? The more you stir it up, the stinker it gets. Again, I'm trying my best not to use the Urban Dictionary. Don't you be out there picking with the chickens.
My daddy used to say that one.
Don't let nobody give you no wooden nickels.
Oh, girl, you just touched my soul.
But I'm saying they spoke in detours, but I had no clue.
Don't let nobody give you no wooden nickels, girl.
But I'm saying they always spoke in detours. Everything they said, even though it was with analogies, but it was detours. It was instructions for our lives. But because we was smelling ourselves, which is another one,
right?
But we dismissed it.
But I tell you what, though, maybe we didn't, because a lot of us are writers and poets, and when they said those things, you had to think about it, like, what was the meaning of that? So you began to understand what metaphors were. All right, and so you have to understand metaphors when you're a writer, when you're writing poetry, because essentially that's like a very key part of the art. So we were listening and we learned.
We heard it, but we didn't listen until we learned the hard way.
I was just about to say that to experience. We heard it. Experience.
We heard it first, but then when we scraped our knee, or got stung by that bee, or our foot was on fire from kicking that ant's nest,
right?
And they told us not to
touch the stove.
Okay.
But you're right. Until we collected enough wooden nickels that you could start a whole fire.
Right.
You know, you realize that you've been what should I say? Bamboozled. You've been flim-flammed. You know, because there's a lot of people out here with some wooden nickels. You better not take that for money for true.
Or even having even something as simple as people would, you know, pick at and dog these relatives out because they would rely on what babies did and animals did as a way to discern if you were a good person, people or not. You know, that aunt would look at if the dog
they
barked.
can sniff a spirit.
Yeah, if that dog barked, and was like adamant about this person not coming in the yard,
or a kid don't like you.
Yeah.
Everybody had a dog. Everybody had a dog named King back in the day. King said you can't come in the yard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that baby know.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, we've lost that art of conversation, and I think obviously, you know, people. I don't know about the younger generation so much because they're so used to using social media. They're so used to having conversation through text until they're not really in front of each other and engaging. And that's not a good thing. I'm just wondering, do they even have the skill for conversation anymore? It's like conversation is a lost art. It's almost like a skill, and they don't have it.
I remember, and this is not putting my religion on anyone on the that's online right now in the chat, whatever, but I'm just going based on Boogie's cultural experiences. The Bible was something we had to memorize. There was vacation, Bible, and Sunday school. And we memorized scriptures like the Lord's Prayer, the 23rd Psalm. Those were mandated. Like we memorized hymns. Like who sings hymns anymore in church? Hymnals were a part of restoration. That was a part of your culture. Like we sung hymns on my grandmother's front porch. We learned how to harmonize, not just with songs, but just in life with each other. Okay, this is your alto, this the tenor, this the soprano part. No, you over here. And even learning how to be flexible in life. Okay, yep. Oh, that's too high. No, you can sing it. Get on over here. They taught you how to adjust, adapt, and overcome the best way they knew how with the tools and resources that we had. So whether it was through food, whether it was through songs, whether it was through stories that they told based on their personal experiences, we learned.
Well, don't leave this out before you leave the church conversation.
Go ahead. Because that's an extensive conversation because they bring
Easter
up something
speeches.
else. Girl, speeches, period.
But especially the Easter speeches.
So I'm still feeling some kind of way, but it's brought me to where I'm at now, sitting in front of this mic. So my family members, my siblings, my cousins, they all got, and I just came to say Happy Easter Day. But then Lane get up there, and Lane got it memorized.
The longest poem, the longest Easter speech.
And say it with feeling. You can't get up there. And I just came to say happy. No.
I know you can read better than that. You just read. You know what they say. That's not reading. You calling words.
Right.
You better learn how to read.
Right. Girl. And of course, you know, I was feeling some kind of way back then. But, you know, look at me now. You know, long Easter speech. Times 27, 2024, 500.
We got poet Ryan in the house with us. How you doing, Ryan? Always good to have you in the building, even if it's virtual. Another great poet. All right. I see we got Corey Jackson in here with us. He said, "Come on with the hymn, amen."
Yes, hymns.
Come on with the hymns. All right, you were about to say some, Soraya. Go ahead and jump on in the conversation.
I wanted to say with you, because I'm 29 and I was raised in the church and my dad was a deacon, and just like reflecting back on my journey, how they say if you set the foundation straight, your child, it won't depart from it. And when granny, daddy, auntie, whoever was dropping the seeds on a garden that wasn't ready to be, like the seeds was, dropped them on cement, and then like over time you start to go through stuff and the seeds start to fertilize, and you like, dang, that's what happened to me. I'm like, my granny or my daddy was telling me this the entire time, but then until I had to touch the stove, until I had to experience life for myself, it's like, but the knowledge was still in there. I just wasn't listening because, like y'all said, you got to go through stuff for that ego, it be in the way. But once you set the foundation and you teach, it's like, I know for myself, looking at growing up, you didn't know how powerful your words can really be. When granny prayed and things change and things shift. Like, I don't think people really realize, like, when we speak, how powerful our words really can be, and the power and the impact that our words really, really do. So like when we do sing them hymns, when our ancestors come together and sing, it's shaking and making movement. So that was what I was gonna say. That was my input.
The atmosphere. And another thing you said about, when grandma would pray and things of that nature. Even I don't think even then our elders, our ancestors, realized the impact of their words, because you would hear stuff like, all right, mark my words. Mark my word.
A hard head will make a soft behind.
Mm-hmm. Mark my word.
Hmm.
And that was them shifting atmospheres, telling you, okay, look, if you do this. And because of the detours that they spoke, and because of the seeds that they planted years ago, even though they are not alive to eat the sweet fruit with us, but we are still eating the sweet fruit from the seeds they planted from, like Soraya said, those prayers that grandma prayed and those words that our aunts and uncles and cousins spoke into our lives. We're still eating that fruit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you what, we got people in here who were saying that they the soul child in the house. How you doing, soul child? Said, love these porch sessions. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Say, also says that conversation is most definitely an art.
Mhm.
All right. Ryan, she remembered the Easter speeches. She had to put an explanation point on that. It's like I can hear her saying Easter speeches. I can hear it. And Corey Jackson in here said it's like writing in script. Cursive is a lost art.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. And Ryan also says, Ryan also was an educator. She said, I disagree with writing in cursive. They need to at least write their name, their signature.
Yes.
But I had this conversation with someone also. No, I don't think they should have taken in cursive writing out of school, but also I want to say this, as a parent, there's just some things that we learned at home. There's no way that I would not have, allowed my children not how to write in cursive.
Oh yeah.
Or my mother not make sure that I could write in cursive and had to practice. Okay. My kids had to practice writing, even print. I would buy big posters. Listen to what I'm saying now. Posters, write lines on them. And they had to write. They had to print. And when I tell you that they both have very good penmanship, I don't have to tell you, because they do. Because they practice. You gonna learn. But there's things that, I feel like are our responsibility. Mothers, home is your first school. Your first school is home. You don't go to school to learn how to read and write and those first things. Listen, when you go to school, you need to know those colors already, those numbers already. Those are just things that you should already know, because I want to know, how is it you could be walking around the world, you looking up at the sky, you out here, la, 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 and you don't know that the sky is blue and the grass is green. You trying to tell me you got to wait till you go to school to learn that? I don't think so. It's about community, and people were going to make sure that you learn that. If you didn't learn it at home, your grandma was going to teach you. If mama was at work, somebody in the family, because it was that important. Somebody read to you at night. Are parents still reading books to their kids?
Yes.
Are they buying books? Are parents buying books
Are
for
the
their kids?
adults reading the books for themselves to even be
Right.
teaching their kids in the first place? It
Right.
started with the parent. It took you
Right.
to care to want to do that for your children in the
Mm-hmm.
first place
Right.
because there's a disconnect with the teachers. Like you see through COVID, parents will get upset with the teachers depending on the teacher to do everything. But teaching just goes outside of, can't solely depend on teachers when they taking care of 10,000 kids.
Right.
Then take care of your kid too.
Right. Tanya, one of the things you said triggered another thing for me. That front porch was very segregated. It was only females on the front porch. And from those females on the front porch, I learned what it was to be a mother, a lady, a woman, a friend, a daughter. Like all of the roles and responsibilities I saw in front of me. And they were consistent in those demonstrations. Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. I was taught on those steps, looking at those older women, what those roles and responsibilities in the home were. Now, were they unorthodox at times? Yeah, they were. But at the end of the day, none of those lessons that I learned have failed me yet. And one sticks out to this day. They taught me that any female can be a woman, but it takes a special woman to be a lady. And I try to impart that to my daughters and younger women who are receptive all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's see, we got Ryan here. She says, our front porch wasn't segregated. It was a meeting place for my family and my grandmother's. Absolutely. I have that same experience as well. Because I remember my uncles, the granddaddy, everybody. I remember those times being on the front porch and they had my grandmother had like a really big gallery front porch. In fact, my grandmother lived, we're here in Florence, and she lived right across the street from the train station in East Florence. So we grew up there. We grew up playing out there. We played over there across, at the train station. It was right down the street from Marita Bread Bakery. We could smell bread baking throughout the whole neighborhood. You understand me? So it was those type of vibes. But one thing about it too is you not only did you get those lessons from the front porch, from the grandmothers, the aunts, even the friends, your neighbors, because you were you knew your neighbors. You knew your grandmother's neighbors.
You had trust to be them.
Right. You had to be respectful to them. That's how you were groomed. You had to do certain things for them. If Miss Gertrude next door to grandma needs something done and she's an older lady, you got to go do it.
Yep.
That's your responsibility because we are taking care of each other. Right? So we learn to be community.
Right.
And that's what I know. So we got to get back to those things. And I know that that's what is missing in a lot of people's lives. Get back to it. But those big gallery porches, man, those were the best. And some of the best days.
I got one for you, boo.
What's up?
It's entitled Front Porch, as a matter of fact.
All right, go ahead with the portrait. We getting on in here to the portrait vibe. Give some snaps, some snaps, some snaps, some snaps, some snaps. We got Boogie in the building. Go ahead, Boogie.
So it's called Sitting on the Steps of Wisdom, framed wide with sages, worn down by sacrificial footprints as legacies age. Wrapped around purpose on this revered porch, flames of destiny are lit by faith's torch. Aware but uncaring of youthful resistance, tongues of wisdom speak seeds into existence. Hedges prickly decorated with moth flakes, align dope roads of detours hiding clay-skinned snakes. Crab apples of distraction play tags with futures, amidst wild plum bushes of the past that sutures. Unifying canned birthrights and Dutch ovens of structure, greased cornrows of culture, display braids misshapen by pending impulsive decisions, are lovingly brushed with molasses of revisions. Taming coarse thoughts of disobedience, unfamiliar pathways are swept with straw brooms of experience. Cackles of chronicles are shared as mason jars of souls are bared. Cups thickly lined with appetites of innocence catch the liquid courage of suffering from ignoring consequences. Fondly spilling narratives of pot liquor, serving a southern buffet of harsh and hope mixtures, cutting greens grown bitter with confusion, sugarcane fields of discernment uproot illusion, straightening nappy wishes and making room for curls of vision, encouraged to be still as the heat of combs scarred from friction smooth out tender necks vulnerable to the fire of adversity. This country university softened the most hardened muscadine. Ears tremble from the potency of spicy wine, poured liberally from mouths stained with crimson traditions, bringing buried prayers into fruition. Sacred patterns of history sketched into sand, staffs of time comfort weathered hands. Resting in chairs which sway to hymns that survives, silver crowns open heirlooms of archives, shelling peas of folklore, staining fingers with patience eager to open screen doors, using frayed recipes of love, teaching lessons from cast iron memoirs baked above. 10 roofs that brave a heritage of storms, lightning silences fears while keeping ambitions warm, placing rusty clothespins of circumstance in praise clutches, positioning and protecting unborn dreams in ancestral hutches. Front porch.
Go ahead with your bad self. All right. And let me tell you something. I heard you when you talked about the weathered hands.
Yes.
And so it would only be right if I go ahead and read this piece.
Come on in.
Calluses. A woman works. She looks down at her hands, grateful. They've served her well. Careful observation acknowledges her story to tell. Spreading fingers wide, small, but not much of a span. She's a lady with calluses on her hands. Calluses on her hands for the lack of a man. Hard work from days young. Mama's men's decision didn't benefit them much. Got babies here. After birth, many days were tough. Papa's on the roam, true rolling stone. While a house is a home, a house is work. It takes upkeep. It takes fixing and painting, regular maintenance and maintaining, yard work and landscaping. There is no escaping physical demands that show up on hands. Hands that should be soft, manicured and dainty. Reality, some hands just can't be because there's work to be done. With no questions asked, she works. A kind of work that ain't never killed nobody, just had to be done. She made the chores fun. A way of meditation, a talk with the gods of nature. Naturally, she walked with her own grace, with a smile on her face. Nobody could see behind those eyes. They were pretty, hiding lies, hurt, and disappointments. Life. And everybody's got a story. She lived hers. Those guidance, through guidance and forgiveness, she harbored no bitterness, callous hands, heart, tenderness. A woman works. All right. All right. I see we got Cigi in the building. How you doing, lady?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Doing good. Glad to have you in the building. Well, you know, we were having a conversation and we got right on into the poetry part. I don't know if either one of you want to share a piece of poetry right now. If you do, let me know, or you just want to talk or have a comment on a piece of the conversation. Where you at?
Okay. Well, right now, I'm just listening. This is my first meeting, but it brings back memories. Like she talked of the porch and the church hymnals and how important they are. And away from a lot of things, and how cell phones is like controlling everything. When you go out to eat, everybody's sitting down looking at their phones. And the importance of communicating. If we could get back to that. And I may share a poem. I'll look it up.
All right. Sounds good to me.
I have a poem in the meantime while you look yours up if you would like to fill in the time. I have my poems based off of my granny and her she didn't have a porch. She had she lived in a senior apartment and she had a patio. And we used to be on Granny's patio, and she would be looking out into the neighborhood, and she would just be very. I could feel her disappointment in the young ladies that would walk past because a lot of them were young mothers, and I told you we were raised in the church, and she was my example on what a woman was like, just dressed to the T's, godly, just beautiful, didn't take any mess off of people. And I was like, when I grow up, I want to be like her. And the Proverbs always stuck with me, Proverbs 31. I'm like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a Proverbs 31 woman like my Granny Ruth. So I made this poem in regards to my granny and her virtue that she put upon this earth. Put some Cheerios down so the pig won't start. So, a virtuous woman. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her value, it's priceless. To be in the grace of this woman is reviving, an IV of life, a source of creativity, hydration to the soul. For whom can find a virtuous woman? I ask. Her temple perfect, examples of God's architectural work. Her mind is a library of knowledge, a powerhouse of dreams, visions of the future, oracle of the moon. Ruler of the stars, for her breast is heaven's manna, her womb the gateway to life, her kiss, her touch, embrace the cure to all pain. Who can find a virtuous woman? Oh, excuse me, my computer. Who can find a virtuous woman? For it will not be hard to find. You will feel her light that shines ever so brightly, heart made of kindness and love, her mouth filled with wisdom and truth. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman at her highest being shall forever be praised. A poem by Soraya Sankofa, reference from Proverbs 31. Thank you.
Snaps on snaps on snaps. All right, all right.
Tonya, it's something that Soraya said earlier and that triggered another memory slash tradition that apparently still goes on to this day. So I grew up with the woman being presented in front of the church if she was pregnant, had the child out of wedlock. And apparently that is still going on here in the South. I'm not sure if y'all were
Right.
able to
No.
view the
I know not of this.
so
Yeah.
that's a tradition that I grew up in where if a woman got pregnant out of wedlock, she had to come before the church and ask for forgiveness, like a church service, and ask
They
for
tried to
forgiveness.
do me like that one time, thinking about it when I was pregnant.
So apparently this is still going on in a few churches because there's a video that is going viral about a young lady who stood up in front of church recently and said, "Hey, y'all forgive me. I'm pregnant." And she was very upset and distraught. And the pastor, like, we're not celebrating this. You're not getting no baby shower, this. Like, he was dogging her out. And so that made me think about some of the traditions in our communities that the front porch didn't talk about. The front porch sometimes didn't allow us to talk about how that child may have been raped or molested. They didn't talk about those generational secrets, but they blamed the child. Well, you shouldn't be so fast, but that there's no such thing as a child being able to outrun an adult who shouldn't be looking at that child in that manner.
Place. Thank you. Thank you.
Clutch my pearls because I was unaware of this. I hadn't heard of this actually. That sounds like torture to me. That doesn't sound very helpful, giving. That doesn't sound like something that a place of faith where you should be taken care of. It doesn't sound like something should be happening like that. So I'm surprised. I hadn't heard of that. I know it's true, but no, I hadn't heard of that one. I see here we've got Soul Child here and saying that it is. I had a former friend whose mom made her come before the church when she was pregnant. Okay. And
It is a thing.
we've got Ryan here. She said, thank God I was never part of church like that. That isn't biblical at all. Exactly. I was not a part of a church like that. I wanted to just hug her when I saw that clip.
Yes, it is terrible. It's hard. It's gut wrenching to, you know, the little girl. She was visibly distraught, and I'm like, last time I checked, we're not asexual. So if she got to stand up in front, she didn't get pregnant by herself. Where he at?
Right. I see Tora. She's saying it was very humiliating.
It was. He dogged her out. The pastor dogged her out. Like he condemned her in front of the church. Like, here's your punishment. Here's your sentence. Yes. Like, he dogged her out. But
wow.
I said that to say this, that sometimes those traditions stem from unhealed trauma or unspoken trauma.
Right.
And it was taught to be normal. So it was, oh, he don't mean no harm. Go over there and give your aunt, your uncle. Go ahead and give him a hug.
That's just them.
They don't mean no harm. Go give him a hug and a kiss.
Grown man.
Right. Grown women, grown men. So you're teaching you're teaching children at a young age to ignore boundaries.
It's called grooming.
Well, I tell you what, those type of things are happening. I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure. But that's just something that I'm glad that I can say was not a part of a culture that I was aware of. Now, I do know this thing back in the day, you know, a young girl would get pregnant and all of a sudden she go up north or go somewhere, she disappear.
Right.
And she come back and
that's somebody's cousin.
There you go. She come back, but it ain't her baby now. Somebody else is taking care of it. So I know of those type of things that have happened in the past. You know, they sent her up north and she'd have that baby and then come on back. So some interesting thing. I'm glad that we and that is why conversation is important. That is why it is important for us to heal ourselves, because sometimes I feel like this. You've got to work through those pains and you've got to work through some of those traumas, because some of the things going on with you, it might not even be yours.
Right.
It might be your mama's or her mama's or somebody
like
in that
secondhand smoke.
Somebody in that bloodline.
Yes.
And you've got to do some healing for that, you know, before you can move forward and be happy in your life. You know, it's a lot of work. There's work to be done. Anybody got a poem? Anybody want to do a piece of poetry? Let's lighten this thing up a little bit with a little piece of poetry. Anybody got something? What you got?
Ready?
See, let Cigi step up to the mic.
That's right. I asked her, was she ready?
Go ahead. We're gonna let her get her opportunity to get on up to the microphone. And let me look through my poems here and see if I got a little something that I might want to share again. But you know what? I think I'll just stay with the vibration of what's going on with everybody. What is it? Say that again. I don't see you. Oh, look at this right here. Boom. What's up, Fox? Unmute yourself.
Sure, you're right. I can wait. Are you ready, Cigi? I can go if you're not ready.
Go ahead.
All right. If y'all don't understand the word I'm saying, just listen to the sexy voice and enjoy. I got to work on my light work, what I call my flowers and puppy stash. Everything is political and, you know, this and that and the fifth. But here we go. Not privileged. Everything I do is earned from burning midnight oil to the urn. Not blessed. Just gifted with gumption to unction talent to make paper with hindsight magic that inks what it thinks on paper. Canvas and imagination, and if you look closely at the brain convolutions, you can see the graffiti. It's called a gift because you got to give it to the people you love so they can open up and be present. Grateful to get busy and operate in the gifts bestowed upon me to be one of the 5,000 leaders PE inspired. So before I fight the power, I find the power. Our outlets charge us up for the surge, so I rocket over the moon, bump being on the verge. Mom and dad play chess with God, so king and queen checkmate the prince when I'm out of pocket and ain't nothing but lit inside my hand. So I start my mission, leave my residence, and nobody dies when we put in work. Our body count is dead presidents. Our 143 amendments love you to shelter peace and vacation our people to rest, but not quit. Not to stop, but being a transformer don't mean rolling until the wheels fall off either. The plot got to rest. You know the rest. You know the reset from the duress. Went from goat herder to goat art teacher, we taught nothing. We just shepherds reflecting the gifts back to the babies so they could rock about trauma and get on some new shift. Throttle with Moxie gifts of God's property. Life is homework from heaven. So stay on assignment. Don't study them. I'm going to need you to just keep on swimming. You've already cried a river, so you might as well fall in love with your reflection. That's not the narcissist. That's esteem, baby. And even when people hate us and want to be us, they still want to be sun dipped. You can ask the tannin salon. The ifs, ands, and big bucks that they used to shame us for, not give up the booty for big bucks and BBLs. No need to forgive them, nor hate us. Just see that the intentions are evident. We know they know what they do, and we know who we are. Hip hop reminded us, gangster rap blinded us. We are made of love like God or something, but God is like, actually, nah, dude, you just made a God. And that's that piece.
Oh yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Snaps on snaps on snaps on snaps. We got Cigi right behind the microphone where she need to be, all up in the building. We got poetry going on right now. This is Poems, Porches, and People. And now we got a poet that get ready to give you a little something. You ready, Cigi? All right, go ahead and do what you do.
When young girls get pregnant and everything and what they go through. I myself am a teenage mother. I got pregnant with my oldest son at 15. And I come from a churchy family, so I was gonna keep the baby, period. But I had a great support system. I did get talked about and put down a lot by the community and said, of course, I wouldn't amount to nothing. And that inspired me to write this poem. I wrote this poem.
Hold on 1 minute now. I
Okay.
want you to straighten that mic up so I can hear you very well. There you go. You good? You good? It was just.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It was just a little over to the side.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so I wrote this poem as a teenage mother that went through a lot of criticism. The title of this poem is Cigi Page. Burdened down, nowhere to turn. Yearning for help, but no one's concerned. Made mistakes, live life with regrets. Tired of life, but don't want to die yet. Wonderful dreams that may never come true. Confused, wondering what to do. Wrote beautiful poems that didn't get her anywhere. Still believe that there is happiness out there somewhere. Want to give up, but will hold on a little while longer. Too much heartache and pain, but it will only make her stronger.
She rise up.
Snaps on snaps on snaps on snaps. I see we got the people all in the comments right now. I see Suzanne said, I have a 50-year-old client who speaks about this trauma. Wow. Wow. Listen, that is traumatizing. Just hearing that is traumatizing to hear. I can't even begin to imagine. We've got Soul Child said, we must keep dialogues open and have conversations just like this to engage in what's going on. For sure. All right. I hope I got Boogie who want to come back up to the mic and do something else a little soon. I also see Ryan got some snaps all up. Snaps. That's what it is. also Suzanne in here. She was like, "Do Mrs. Pat." Oh my goodness, we got a poetry request. Okay. Let me give you guys. Let me find it first. If I think I have it in my phone. I'm not sure. I wasn't expecting this, Suzanne. I was already over here set up, but let me see if I have it in my phone. Just to give you guys a little background while I'm looking for it. Let's give a, I don't know how many of you all know, how many of you are watching who are from Florence, but we just celebrated the life of a dear, dear lady in our community, Mrs. Patricia Pat Gibson High. She, great community leader, former councilwoman. She was on the school board. She did so many things, responsible for helping so many people, so giving to the very last breath and thought that she could have. She was always thinking about other people and looking to help people. And I wrote a poem for her. The family asked me to write a poem for her homegoing celebration, and this is the poem. A poem for Mrs. Pat. They say community is what community does. Pat Gibson High was more, much more. She walked with service, with love, helping and providing for a community of thriving, good people. A leader who led with heart for the betterment of all people, young people, unhoused people, working mothers and fathers, for students to doctors and lawyers, the artists, neighborhood elders, helping because that is what should be done beyond color lines and across districts, because all deserve the dignity of shelter, food, and healthcare services, because all children should have a good education after graduation and opportunity to a good occupation. Community is what community does, and community is to be a good neighbor, to serve God, have respect for nature, because life is to be appreciated. She will forever be appreciated for living and providing for a community of thriving, good people. Our common bond, a bond through love. Community is what community does. Let us continue her works. Do your part. We are community. Let us make it our duty to live and lead as love is alive for our dear beloved community to thrive. And that is Miss Pat. You better believe that. Community is what Miss Pat did. All right? Dear, 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 dear lady.
I'll show you to Miss Pat.
Respect all times.
Ah, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the church fan on that one.
Yeah. I know you made Miss Pat proud.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Respect. What's going on, Boogie?
So this piece is entitled Sense.
Before you read that, Boogie.
Oh, I'm ready. Ask me anything. I'm ready.
Before you read that.
I'm ready.
Because, we've been on this. It doesn't seem like it, but we've been doing this for quite a little while. It's about time for us to wrap it up.
Right.
But I see we got some snaps on here. We got Keep the Faith Victorious. She said, yes, please. And prayer hand, she said she was a beautiful soul. Absolutely. Suzanne says, thank you. And we've got Kaylin here. She says, and the delivery was awesome. Appreciate it. She was just an awesome, awesome lady. Just a role model, a mentor. Yes, she definitely was. But what I was gonna say, Boogie, we was talking a lot. This little thing right here. We've been talking a little bit.
Look, before church started.
Before church started. And now I see we got. Hold on. I'm just got these people popping up here. But let me go ahead and get right here. We was talking before church. Before church got started. What would you call that? Was we having a little Bible study or something?
Yeah, church meeting of the minds.
Meeting of the minds. I feel a type of way. The people say we need to do this again.
Okay.
How you feeling?
Say less.
We gonna bring it back to the people again.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. But you got to do that last piece of poetry, and then we come back and talk to the people and let them go ahead about their Saturday.
Okay. This is entitled Since. SINCE. Since words cannot speak up for themselves, I will continue to pull these emotions off wounded shelves, sharing phrases from the pages in their minds, letters of views scattered yet beyond, together to remind me of the fact that my voice is more than just a vibe. It is a fusion of my embrace of this divine assignment, yielding to his call and placing myself in alignment as a universal lyrical scribe. Every sentence opens containers of your Tupperware, standing at the cabinet of your experiences, disregarding conditional resistance. Verbally, I reveal stacks of memories that glare with thoughts kept fresh by seals of bondage made from the flesh, of broken stains, spirits, scratching them with the inconsistencies that are ingrained like twisted perceptions of love. Warped by societal indifference, another shove. Stumbling from the intense heat of nonchalance, compassionate breathing seeps from my feelings while humanity stands on the sidewalk of judgment, watching others ride in the back of condemned ambulances. Opinions and double standards fueled by ignorant audacity. Empathy causes me to slip occasionally on the blood of global tears. The ink in my pen drips with resigned acceptance and silent fear. Uncomfortable with hearts that have become stale from scars uncovered and flail in the wind of life. Slowly, my lyrics battle back heat from the punches of strife, designed to misshape identities marred by lids of their circumstances. Yet there is hope. Tying a knot in the rope of my faith, rhythmically I wrap around souls, eloquently revising painful narratives, unearthing holes, meant to trap generations, exposing the revolving door of disbelief, composing legacies that journey beyond the cemeteries of grief. I write orders of restraint set against any cycle that is not an ally of courage, using the keys of revolution to unlock and discard mental prisons, bruised luggage, standing at the podium of the world. Vocally, I rearrange lives one verse at a time, shifting atmosphere of despair to climates of change. Since.
Snaps on snaps on snaps on snaps. Let me bring the poets back up in here. Bring the poets back up in here. What's up, poets, poets in the building? Oh, no, Sharita was not backstage. No, she was not all up there on mute. Sharita, you better say hello. And she done left. But anyway, that's all I got, folks.
We did that.
That's all I got.
We did that.
And I think we should do it again.
I'm ready. Say less.
Yes.
Fox, tell them people something.
She must have been a beautiful baby. What's up, TV land? MsTonya's people, Flowtown, New Danger Crew, the Tribe, Poetry, Alternate Roots, and More Than Words, all our poetic friends. Thanks for coming out. It's only postponed for the live session in the barbershop. So hold steady for the next live session. But it sounds like y'all want to take it to the poet's house and, keep the porch popping in this realm as well. So we're going to make it do what it do this way too. So thanks everybody for coming out. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed the comments and the camaraderie. And we shall see y'all on the next one.
Ashe.